Would you like to see top divisions have top domestic leagues have playoffs and all that in it? Not playoffs to get anywhere, but rather than league titles awarded on points, have it awarded on a playoff format.
Well, I feel as somebody who is well versed in championship stuff, they have a playoff. What are your thoughts, Dav?
Well, yeah, they do, but you still have your winner of the league. Like you're rewarded,
that's
you're
true.
rewarded for the consistency of finishing in that top two over the season, and then
Yeah.
I suppose there's always the argument that surely third place, especially last season, third place. Well, often actually third place can have a little bit of a gap on fourth, fifth, and sixth, and you think, oh, on merit shouldn't they go up? But that's the kind of way they've decided to do it. It's the same with like the Pro 14 with rugby. Like they have a playoff.
That's
You
a
can
good
finish
shout.
at the top of a league, but you still have the playoffs to decide who wins. And finishing top at the end of the league stage just gives you a home advantage for the semi or whatever. So I think if you could say let's have a playoff to decide who gets into, if you wanted to decide your top four on playoff, then that would be a discussion. But I think it would be harsh to play 38 games and go, oh, unlucky, you've still got to play another 4 games.
I'd love to have seen Liverpool of last season go into a playoffs and end up losing it classically on the first game.
Don't. But no, to be honest, Sav, I'd agree with you. As in, like, for me, whenever anyone talks about, having a league and then putting it into a playoff to decide who wins, I always think of the Pro 14 and think, like, whoever finishes first, like, in terms of, like, there's no difference between finishing first and finishing fourth, really, in terms of, where the likelihood of winning the league. Okay, I guess the argument would be if you finish higher up, you probably get you get the weaker opposition in the playoff round. But as in, surely the whole point of a league is that over the course of, like you said, whether it's the Pro 14 or any football league, over the course of like 30 odd games or whatever, surely the whole point of that is that you decide, well, over the course of this season, this team deserved to win.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like almost by making it like a playoff round, it almost becomes a bit of a lucky dip, doesn't it? Which is, I guess, is entertaining, but I've always felt it's a bit gimmicky.
Do you not think, though, the element of a playoff system in any league sort of equalises out in a sense? But what I mean is Man City and Liverpool, not this year, but the years prior, maybe not even last year actually, the years prior to that, it was like knife edge, it'd be coming down to 2 points. And you're like, okay, on the balance of the consistency throughout a whole season, yes, that team deserves to win. But being as seasons are so long, and things like injuries or rogue decisions. I mean, we saw Cardiff City get relegated from the Premier League on a rogue decision when Azpilicueta was offside against Chelsea, and clearly offside, and still was allowed to score a goal. But you see these like decisions, and they go all left. They could go either way. They can really decide a title because of how close the margins are. Do you not think the idea of a playoff sort of negate that? And it's kind of like, okay, maybe these things happen here or there, but let's get down to the nitty gritty, prove it. In a sense, you get a load of benefits anyway if you qualify first for this sort of playoff format. But
that's what you have all the cup finals for, though, isn't it? Like that's an FA Cup final you've just described.
Yeah, and I guess my argument would be, I get what you're saying, but like you've said, like when it was close between Liverpool and City, but like last year. Are you seriously telling me that, like, at the end of this, and I know I'm probably biased because I'm a Liverpool fan, but are you seriously telling me that at the end of last season, you would then go into a playoff and say, say to Liverpool, you got to prove yourself now.
To be fair, in that scenario, I probably you wouldn't want to see a playoff. It's the same way when the Patriots lost the Super Bowl to the New York Giants back in, I can't remember when, but they went undefeated that season, 16-0. Only, I think the Miami Dolphins had done that, and that was 40 years before that. So you just don't see very many teams go 16-0 in the NFL.
No.
And they did that, and they get all the way to Super Bowl, and they lose. and it's like, oh, that's a killer. And you feel like, everyone knows that Patriots team was one of the greatest of all times because they did 16-0. But if you haven't got the mustard when it comes to the crunch game, it just adds that extra flavour that everybody likes.
I do think the NFL is slightly different, though, than just... So, and I guess this is what I'm saying. For the European Super League, there's the potential that I think having a playoff at the end works because you've got two separate leagues merging into one. Mm-hmm. And it's the same with the NFL. You've got the NFC and you've got the AFC merging into one. So you basically get a winner of each league, and then you get basically those winners play each other to decide who's the winner out of everyone. Whereas I feel like in the Premier League, they're all in one table anyway. They've all played each other twice. I feel like by the end of the season, with all of the information that you have, like points, goal difference, all of that sort of stuff, to then go, right, now we're going to put it into a playoff, I feel is a little bit gimmicky, to be honest.
I mean, there's nothing new under the sun, is there? Because what you've just described there, like the whole issue, the reason we have the Champions League is because back in the day, I think it's right to say there was only one English representative in the European Cup.
Yeah, it would just be the winners of each league rather than multiple teams.
Therefore, we could say back in the day you had the European Super League because you genuinely just had the best team in every nation thrashing it out. But there were, complaints were made and people were unhappy because, that was limited and whatever. So, in a more civilized fashion compared to this time round, people sat around a table and said, so how shall we work this out? So then you had 4 English teams, 4 Spanish teams, 4 German teams, and 4 Italians, 2 French. They worked out some kind of formula, didn't they, with their coefficients and all of that to kind of spread it out. So what we're essentially saying is let's go back to the 70s.